The Security Council warned that the advances by the Rwandan-backed M23 represented a serious violation of the ceasefire agreed last August, exacerbating the grave humanitarian and displacement crisis in eastern Congo and undermined efforts to reach a lasting peaceful and political solution to the conflict through the Luanda process. The Council demanded that the ongoing offensive and advances towards Goma immediately stop, while further condemning the flagrant disregard for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the DRC, including the unauthorized presence in eastern DRC of external forces. They urged Rwanda and the DRC to return to diplomatic talks to achieve a lasting and peaceful solution. This after the rebels claimed to have captured Goma, with reports of heavy artillery fire and gunshots heard around Goma airport, amid columns of people fleeing with what little they could carry, an all too familiar scene in the region.
Despite ongoing MONUSCO support to FRDC, M23 and Rwandan forces penetrated Munigi, captured in the outskirts of Goma city, causing mass panic and flight among the population. Roads are blocked and the airport can no longer be used for evacuation or humanitarian efforts. M23 has declared the airspace over Goma closed. In other words, we are trapped. I call on this council to act now to secure the civilian population, humanitarian aid workers, and all United Nations personnel.
The UN earlier warned that the fate of Goma and its millions of inhabitants was hanging in the balance.
MONUSCO has shown admirable resolve in delivering on its protection of civilians mandate, often at great cost, while doing its utmost to ensure the safety and security of UN personnel. To this end, MONUSCO has reinforced its blocking positions in coordination with the FRDC and SAMIDRC to prevent the M23's further advance towards Goma. Steps have also been taken to ensure the swift resupply of UN contingents based in M23 controlled areas, notably in Kiwanja, Kanyabayonga and Kichanga. The mission has activated contingency measures to facilitate CASEVAC and MEDEVAC procedures as required.
The Security Council also stressed that the involvement in planning, directing, sponsoring and conducting attacks against MONUSCO peacekeepers may constitute war crimes and create the basis for sanctions. This as South Africa called on the international community to no longer sit on the sidelines as this conflict continued to displace, maim and kill innocent civilians.
We cannot accept a world wherein non-state actors are armed to do the will of other states, while those states refuse to accept responsibility for unnecessary armed violence and potential war crimes. Peacekeeping as a tool will be rendered ineffective when the peacekeepers and peacekeeping operations face complex political situations, such as that in the Eastern DRC, when other states get militarily involved in fueling conflict. The international community can no longer afford to simply watch as conflict in the Eastern DRC continues to displace, maim, and kill innocent civilians. The current situation in the Eastern DRC requires decisive action from the international community led by this council.
As this escalation in the DRC now adds a further dimension to the expanding workload of a council that often struggles to respond adequately to theatres of war and conflict. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says more than 21 million people already need aid across the DRC, one of the highest numbers worldwide. In Sudan, just to the north, that figure is above 30 million. Leaving some 50 million people in need in just 2 Central African countries due to man-made conflicts and brazen inhumanity. The office called on the Security Council to ensure that international humanitarian law was respected in the DRC, that civilians be protected, and that rapid, unimpeded and safe humanitarian access to those in need be facilitated. A constant refrain that often fall short of the ever-expanding needs on the ground. Shervin Bryceby's SABC News, New York.